Here are some highlights of this program.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Mechanics, electricity, computer science, innovation,
And we know that this brainstorm.
Yourself after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one. Hello everyone and welcome to Brainstorm Broadcast. In our previous broadcast, we talked about public administration and artificial intelligence, or AI. In today's show, the focus is on digitalization. So today's theme is the public administration and digitalization. What is digitalization? How does it work in public sector? What are some benefits of it? Joining me now on this set is Serge Gala, the computer scientist. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Guy, for having me.
Everything is okay?
Everything is all right.
Delighted one more time because previously we dealt with public administration and artificial intelligence, or AI. And today we're going to deal with digitalization in the public administration. So as part of modernization in connection with the public administration, there is a concept called digitalization. What is it?
Well, in very simple terms, I may say that digitalization is just this transition from any manually operated procedure to a procedure that can be controlled with the help of computers. So that's the very simple way on how you can perceive digitalization. Just see it like from paper to screens, or from paper to storage facilities, or storage devices. So that's in simple terms how we can call digitalization. It's just a simple transition from a more manually operated procedure to a computerized or a digital one.
Okay, it means public administration that use computers in different offices for operational, right?
Yeah, it depends. It may be office automation or any other procedure to make their job easier.
All right. We talk about digitalization in the public administration. So what is digitalization? Please watch this video and we'll be back.
You might have heard of digitization, which is the process of turning analog information into digital information. But have you heard of digitalization? Digitalization is the ongoing action of sharing knowledge in a digital format. Businesses are increasingly turning to the internet to share their insights through digital content, including videos, infographics, and podcasts. Why is this? We live in an on-demand world. Our television is on demand, our shopping is on demand, and we can communicate with friends online on demand. The internet allows us more control and freedom over how we live our lives. Your business should also be on demand in order to keep your audience engaged. How can you do this? Digitalization is about sharing knowledge. Creating digital content that adds value to your customer where needed means that they can engage with your business as and when they want. A video demonstrating how to use your product can be watched at your customer's convenience, at whatever moment they are handling your product. A podcast discussing relevant news to your industry can be listened to at any time, in any place, whenever your audience feels the need to learn more. In other words, digitalization lets your audience find your business in the moment they need to, rather than you coming to them, hoping that they need your services. Is your business on demand? Feel free to share your ideas below.
So now, why do we need to address this issue in Congolese context?
Well, back in the days, we humans have been running behind some rewards. Today, for example, we talk of gold. Gold is something precious, right? But when you extend, we have black gold, that is oil. We have blue gold, that is water. Green gold, that are trees. But also, we have another type of gold, as I may say, it's data. So when we talk about data, it's all types of necessary and useful information that are compiled in order to be used. So when we talk about the importance of digitalization, especially in the public administration, it's actually to help us leverage and understand how we can appropriately or run better our administrations by having easier access to specific information and how we can manage them later on.
And you brought about database. So we want to know database, data, a public administration or private corporate database that could be served in a server or computers. How actually does it work? Can you give an example of it, digitalization using a database, for instance?
Well, without diving into technicalities, let's say, for example, you're running a company and you want to know exactly specific information on your employees. Back in the days, you may use what we call logs. It can be books where your employees sign in, sign out, or write some specific information, time of arrival, time of departure, or anything necessary. But then, imagine you have compiled such information for like 20 years, and you want to look for a specific detail or a specific entry on an agent or a staff X. So I don't see you like going in archive room and start browsing. But today with computer systems and digitalization, you can easily fetch that information. So that information is stored in a database. Picture the database as a virtual and easily accessible archive room. And that's how it works. So a database is just it's a system where you store different sets of various information so you can retrieve them faster, process them, computerize, or do any type of analytics on them.
So it means there are more advantages of using digitalization than previous or traditional administration having to do with paper, document, hard copies, and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Using software and so forth helps a lot, right?
A lot, yeah.
It's true that the Congolese citizens sometimes have a hard time to deal with or to adjust to that new technology. So how can it be work the feasibility of it?
Yeah, well, it's split. First of all, it's about access to devices, which is quite good. Today, most of Congolese, especially in Kinshasa, have access to smartphones. But this is another field. When we talk about digitalization, especially in public administration, it doesn't limit to people having access to smartphones or any device that they may leverage. It also extends to the fact that state-owned institutions or organizations, either private or public, needs to have the appropriate infrastructure in order to run those services. Because I may have a cell phone, an Android or an iPhone or smartphone whatsoever, but when it comes to managing or processing company data or specific information on banking, security, finance, medical records of Congolese people, and so on, you need another or a whole set of infrastructure, which of course have some prerequisites to meet before you can roll out such infrastructures.
It's true that Congolese citizens sometimes have a hard time to adjust to new technology, namely when it comes to digitalization in the public sector. So please watch the following video just to get some insight of it, and we'll be back.
Society is demanding more humane towns and cities, with better services for the citizen, who must be the focus of all actions performed by public administrations. The big challenge is to streamline and enhance their relationship with the administration, to connect with the citizen in a more effective way. We at Minside work to help achieve the new digital administration. We want to boost transformation to generate direct and positive impact on the citizen. Transforming the way of communicating with the citizen. Innovating and generating greater value to society. And always committed to sustainability so that every improvement we achieve is both for today and tomorrow. At Minside, we build this new relationship between the citizen and the administration through innovative and disruptive solutions. We give a comprehensive answer to the challenges and opportunities that public administration must face in a rapidly changing context.
Now, we talked about different sectors and so forth. So which one in Congolese context fits better for digitalization?
Well, I mean, nearly all the sectors, right? Because it's not very interesting to do things in half. When you want to roll out such a system, it needs to be consistent enough so that you can gather the necessary information. But for example, I may say it's very important when it comes to census services. A service that where you can have all the necessary information your citizens, date of birth, full names, address, activities, So for example, you may say right on spot that Kinshasa has X number of inhabitants or Congo. This is, I think, one of the most important service. I'm not actually undermining other services, but I'm just trying to say that for the census to know about the people, the populations, and also in migration and on security issues, those are up to me the top sectors where digitalization, especially in public administrations, need to apply. And lastly, maybe also on workers. Yeah, there have been some improvements recently in the Congolese landscape, and that's something that we can only encourage.
Yeah, we all know that we admire what comes from abroad, the overseers and beautiful things that happen somewhere else. And when it comes to Congo's reality, sometimes people will say, okay, what is the benefit of digitalization? So when we talk in terms of development, you see the link between digitalization and development?
Obviously, yes. Nowadays, it's not even a debate. It's clear cut. Without digitalization, we'll be lagging behind in many sectors. Because today, effective decision makers also rely on data. For example, you want to sort out this issue of traffic jam. You need to have data to understand what are the driving patterns, at what time people use the roads, at what time there are lots of conjunctions for the traffic. So you need data to start analyzing them. But the problem is the number of the population, the demography of urban cities or anywhere in general is growing, and you need to adjust, you need to adapt. And it will be difficult to start using manual records. That's why you need digitalization in order to have information easily accessible on a computer or in a database. And then you may use some specific softwares to process the information you have so that you can better understand. For example, as we say, a picture at times is worth 1,000 words. I can be giving you explanations over something, but when I show you a graphic where you see, for example, the traffic in a month, the traffic in the day, it's easy for you, and this is what actually drives people forward and brings really development. So there is a real relationship between digitalization and development. That's why you see even the countries that are very developed are also moving forward and leading digitalization or even innovation, so to speak.
All right, now we want to make things a little bit clear in public administration.
Sure.
We cannot name a public administration without referring to employees, employers, and so forth. But now, people sometimes downplay the use of modernization when it comes to digitalization in public service. So when we want to target the staff, how can it be used to control the staff to help things move forward smoothly in the public sector?
Well, thank you for specifying as your question relates to the public sector. When it comes to employees, well, it just there need to be maybe a central database somewhere where all the information are being centralized and accessible at a high level of administration or decision-making bodies. But each service may also have, should have, a local infrastructure in order to start recording data. For example, if I have to enroll or enlist civil servants on a database, they don't need all of them to go at the central department, right? From where they are, they can register themselves, all the information may be compiled and sent. This allows, for example, to understand what is the exact expenses the government may disperse in order to cover anything related to wages and salaries. It may allow to track back fictitious names or maybe all those who resort to fraud in the administration. And it also allows you to understand better the age of retirement, to know, for example, we have this number of people who go to retirement and can help you to welcome fresh blood and so on. So there are several, I would say, advantages related to that.
All right, the information provided by the guests on the platform is really relevant. So, friends, you'd like you to watch this video focusing on the digitalization in the public sector, and we'll be back. Please take a look.
Is digitalization the promise of a better future? Digitalization seen through the eyes of citizens is a great improvement in their relationship with local and regional governments. Faster communication, more transparency in the decision-making process, and more involvement in the design of new public services. However, the scope of the impact that digitalization has on how public services are delivered by local and regional governments has to be fully analysed. In 2014, EPSU, together with CEMR, launched a joint project based on the research of available documents and best practices in the framework of EU sectoral social dialogue. Some of the issues uncovered by social dialogue have a great impact on the quality of future jobs and services, on restructuring with limited resources, and on staff and workers' safety and well-being at work. Thus, the line between the work schedule and private life becomes more blurred, which affects the work-life balance. Some jobs lose their value and workers' direct contact with citizens is diminished, which can decrease job satisfaction. Proper and ongoing training is fundamental to fill the gap between those who can learn new technologies faster and those who cannot. Furthermore, digitalization of public services needs to consider how to include all citizens, even those without internet access. This fast restructuring process must also take into account the required hardware, training and skills needed for the delivery of these new services. Digitalization can enhance the ability of local governments to modernize public services by considering the staff resources and their level of training. Furthermore, we need to allow local governments to be autonomous in how they implement these new services in accordance with those resources. All social partners, employers, employees, citizens need to have an ongoing dialogue to minimize the negative impact and maximize the positive aspects of digitalization. Join the discussion.
All right, so we want to be pragmatic in Congo when we talk about digitalization. That's a wish, right? But now, what do you think that could be some challenges when it comes to implementing that new technology in Congolese public sector?
All right. First of all, we used to say when there's a will, there's a way, and we really need to have this acknowledgement where we understand that digitalization is very important, and that's key. And also to have the leadership impulse from, the officials or decision makers. But on top of that, there are also some technical aspects we need to consider. First of all, you need to have a good electricity supply. Most of the tech tools, they rely on electricity. They need to be permanently run. The database, they need to be cold, especially if you have a big one. So it will be difficult without proper supply in electricity. That's number one. Number two, we have to talk about infrastructure, right? You need to have the proper infrastructure, the equipment, the servers, and also you need to have the expertise. It can be local or, international or from outside entities, but the best one is to have local expertise, meaning people who are trained and who have a sense of ethics to run those equipment properly and for the welfare of the nation. And on top of that, there needs to be this will to track with innovation, because as years are going by, technologies are evolving, and that's why you also need people to help transition with that. It may, of course, encompass aspects related to having more students or more people studying those technology, more people willing to work and understanding maybe programming languages, how to maintain, how to connect cables, how to troubleshoot whenever there is such issue. And you need funds because you need to buy those equipment from the most appropriate supplier. So these are, in a sense, what needs to be done.
Public administration and digitalization, this is today's topic. We're delving into this matter. So we know that on top of the public administration, there is a government. So what is digitalization in the government? So please watch this following video.
Digital government. Now, what exactly does this mean? We see digital government as one that is digital to the core and serves with heart. From the way we are run to the way we think about plans and processes, we're constantly embracing new and better ways to plan, operate, and serve our citizens and businesses in a better way. You might ask, how? Well, it's by making sure you can interact seamlessly with the government. From accessing your digital identity to applying for a flat and paying taxes, we have digitized many physical processes and built digital services around your needs, while not forgetting the human in digital. After all, tech should always serve us, not the other way around. So we are freed up to focus on things that matter most. Citizens too can get involved in our digital government. After all, it's not just about apps, digital infrastructure, or integrated systems. It's also about the community, the relationships, and the connections we build. Digitalization isn't an end goal in itself, but a wheel that is always in motion. How we enhance our lives can be a complex code, and technology means nothing if we don't apply it for the public good. We are here to serve with heart. No matter where you are or who you are, you can be empowered by your ideas and our infrastructure. Fashion your dreams out of new tools and thrive in this smart city we call home.
Yes, everything there are challenges that we recognize. There are also problems that need to be fixed and so forth. So what do you think that could be solved once digitalization is applied or implemented in the Congolese public administration?
Technically, first of all, we will have a quicker access to information. On top of that, it will be possible, I believe, to have specific analytic information to know exactly how many people work in XY service. What are the demographics in a given region? What are the medical records? Because you may compute or digitalize any sector. It can be even patient medical record. And from that you may say, well, from our study, we understand that many people die from, let's say, bad fat, from sugar or what. And then you may be giving prescriptions for the welfare of actually of the community. So I think digitalization should fit like in all the sectors where they really needs to be applied. And this will also help us solve issues related to fraud. Of course, fraud will still prevail, but when you compute something, it's harder for someone to because you will implement as well measures to check the information you have. It can also help us have a better hand on resources management. Sometimes you may spend more or less because you don't have the actual figure of something. But when you have almost real numbers in front of you, you may take appropriate decisions. And it also helps in statistics and also in effective decision making, so to speak, among many.
Okay, thank you. Just the very last question, and we'll also follow up with the final statement. What piece of advice could you provide to Congolese officials as far as digitalization is concerned in public administration, and at the same time, your final statements before we conclude?
Well, this topic is very obvious given the trend and how the world is moving forward. Digitalization is really the key to that. Nowadays is a period where we need to take at times fast decisions with very complicated circumstances, and also it's the period where we need to make people's work appealing, pleasing, right? And we also need to catch up with the delays we have accumulated. Using technology, using secured system to transition information faster. This can help alleviate the burden in administration, fasten some procedures, make many things interesting. So I think it's up to the political will as well, and also to have leaders who have experts near them, especially people from newer generation or some tech geeks or tech devotees who really have that passion to actually drive things forward. And as a final statement, I think it's also time for us, the young people who have fresh blood, to actually dive into how to deploy system architecture, cloud systems. I have, for example, friends who have been very advanced with AWS services, Amazon Web Service, and so on, who can really work in this field to push things forward and be the local expertise, because there are always advantages using digitalization.
All right, this is quite a summary of all the things we talked right on this platform and about this topic of public administration and digitalization. Serge Gala, thank you for coming. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
This public administration and digitalization was really a relevant topic we dealt with the guests on this platform. I think, dear guests, dear viewers, you've watched this program, and we hope that you look forward to other interesting topics, issues that will be dealt with other guests. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Here are some highlights of this program.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Electricity, computer science, innovation,
And we know that this brainstorm.
Yourself, after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one.